Oh, good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Oh,
Good morning.
Morning.
Super smooth. That's what we're all about today.
Nothing happening. It's all part of the plan.
Yeah.
Always.
Oh, Kevin, you're muted or we can't hear you.
Oh yeah, I turned my mic off. This is great. Yeah.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, everyone!
welcome to our first live stream of the year.
Yeah.
But okay.
This is our first one. We've not done this before, so we're
Definitely
new
not
to
our
it.
101st one. That's definitely not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's disappointing. But oh well, what are you gonna do? Actually, this isn't 101. Boy, I did it. Oh no, it's Fabric 101. It's not number 101.
It's 107.
Yeah,
I thought it was both. Oh.
Yeah, boy, I'm falling way behind on this stuff.
The wheels
All
are
right.
coming off. Yeah.
Let's bear down. Back to basics here, everybody. It's a new year, new resolutions. I'm going to be a better YouTuber and live streamer starting now.
Next week.
We're watching, Chris.
Yeah. Did you guys have a good New Year?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
How about you?
It was fantastic. Had people over to the new house for the first time.
Fun.
We had like a mad scramble to hide all the boxes and all the stuff that was still out from the move, but it was like a targeted, okay, they're going to be here at 1 tomorrow, so it was a very focused efforts that all worked towards it, and it ended up working out great. So
I'm telling you, the best way to get your house cleaned and unpacked, have people over.
yes. Yep.
Or the best way to figure out where to store everything, and throw it in this closet, and then it lives there for the next year.
There's a lot of truth to that.
My New Year's resolution: find the stuff that was thrown away in the closet as part of last New Year's resolution. In a different closet because of the New Year's resolution the year before.
I'm going to admit that one of the big accomplishments was getting up closet doors on a closet that didn't have closet doors on it, so that we could hide stuff in there.
Yeah.
Not look like psychos. So.
The other option is always the garage,
Oh,
always the Midwest option.
yes. Well, good morning, everyone. It's good to see you. Why don't you leave in the comments what was one meal or dish that you had over the holidays, over Christmas or New Year's or whatever it is you celebrate, that you were excited about and you enjoyed. Would love to hear what you're cooking and what you're doing. That'd be fantastic.
Did you have to cook it? Was that part of the rules, or?
You do not have to cook it. Like if you order out, if you are a Domino's deep dish super fan,
that was your number one meal. You ordered Domino's in 30 minutes and you got it. You were so happy.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, that Domino's tracker still gets me. I just love the integration with technology and the real world. For that alone, I'm not going to say I have or have not ordered Domino's specifically just to watch that, but there's something.
It was actually really healthy for me when I moved to this house. Domino's didn't recognize my address because it was a new build, so I couldn't order Domino's. I learned how to cook instead. No.
Ooh, an Italian cream cake.
Oh,
gosh.
Yum.
So I heard apparently if your friends are associated with Tom Cruise, he sends everyone the same Christmas gift every year, and it's a coconut cream cake that's apparently out of this world. And I thought, boy, if there's ever a reason to become friends with Tom Cruise, it's the cake.
Once a year. Yeah.
That's the first reason.
Exactly. That's the number one reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, and Mike did crab legs for New Year's Eve. That's great.
Yeah, short ribs, crab legs. You guys are eating some good food.
Yeah, yeah. What is this? Grapefruit and ginger glazed
Oh, yum.
salmon with, I'm guessing that's salmon with caramelized ginger. Holy crap. That sounds
That sounds amazing, James.
rock shrimp. Love me some rock shrimp. I'm gonna admit I did a standing rib roast. Or prime rib. I followed oh crap. I forgot his name. There's a food chef guy that
There's only
oh
one. We could probably figure it out.
yeah. No, he's got a beard and he's been doing it forever. God bless it. Well, whatever.
Oh
He
gosh.
had a new recipe. What's that?
I'm blanking on it. I think I know who you're talking about.
He's
as soon as you
fun.
said beard, there's only one with a beard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's only one.
Yes.
Sounds like the challenge of the day.
Rib.
What did you with the bones or without the bones and cut and
with
tied?
with the bones. God
cut
bless
and
it.
tied.
This is exciting, super exciting YouTube content. Alton Brown. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he does have a beard now.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Christmas Cooking 101 show.
Yeah. Oh, it was gammon. Okay. I had no idea. James says it was gammon. Yes, Jack Irby, Alton Brown. He had a new recipe out. I tried it this year. He had an old prime rib recipe that was good and great. I used it for a long time. He had a new one he put out this year. I tried it out. I totally screwed it up. I did not follow his recipe. It turned out because I got some of the stuff mixed up, but it turned out fine. It was good. My wife saved it, so. Awesome. All right, so like I said, I'm going to be trying to be a better YouTuber, so make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, follow all of us on LinkedIn, X. Are there any other socials we're on? Reddit, we're on Reddit. Join us.
Jared has a YouTube channel as well. Definitely check that out.
Jared has a YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to DataBard. Jared, I'm going to let you post that in the comments because I don't have that up right now.
On its way.
Excellent. But please make sure that you are subscribing to this content, liking it. It really does go a long way. It really helps us out quite a bit. So really, the more we can get, your interactions, it really does help me out and help the group out. So we really appreciate that. Now, we almost forget this. We're here talking because we're here to help you and have a conversation on this stuff. So please ask questions. We want to, as we talk about these topics here, we might go pretty quick through some. We might go slower through others. But if you have questions, please post them in the chat. Prefix the question with the Q so that we can get into it. Don't spam it, but we don't have a problem with that because there's all of 11 of us on the live stream. So if any of you psychos start spamming this chat,
we'll know you.
Yeah. We'll literally call you.
Bigger questions at hand.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. So today the topic is Fabric 101 items for us to know, reflect upon, and just make sure we haven't forgotten. I think a lot of these topics, as we were starting to put these together, we're like, oh yeah, that's important for us to not forget about. So with that, we're going to dive into the Fabric 101, and we're going to actually hit on the first topic. Number one, Fabric is a platform, not just a bunch of tools, i.e., Microsoft didn't just take all of their existing data tools, drop them together in a portal, and call it done. They actually took a lot of work to take and do a good, solid integration between all of these tools into a singular platform that runs on the platform, so that that it is not just a bunch of tools, right? Any
right.
comments here, guys?
Yeah, so it's a platform, and what's nice about it, right, is all the tools are designed to work together, right? So that is kind of the major difference between, especially like when we came from like just Azure itself, right? You could stand up Data Factory, but then how do you connect it to a database? And, you know, how do you do all these other things with it? And with Fabric, it's just there, right? And so it's designed to work together. And so when you're getting started, think about that. I think is kind of the message we're trying to get out. How are pick the right tool for the right job, because they can just all write to the same lake house or something. So
Yeah, and think about what it can do
save me.
for your ETL as a whole, right? So it's not just about, hey, I really want to get out of my Dataflow Gen 1, so I'm going to purchase Fabric just so I get Dataflow Gen 2. Or it can do so much more, to your point, Kevin. It can really change how you're doing your ETL, it can change how you're doing your analytics, and it can change how you govern all of that together, right? So there's a lot of pieces in it that become more apparent the more you use it as a platform and as a holistic approach than just separate tools that might as well live in different ecosystems because you don't use them together.
Yeah.
And I think especially like, I think of it as far as like transitioning from phase to phase of your data journey. Like analytics and all that is expected to be, I mean, cyclical. It's expected to be something that's constantly moving. And I think for a lot of organizations, some of the struggles they deal with are situations where, all right, I spend 4 hours trying to just get something like a Python script connected to my data source because of driver issues, of some firewall issues, of so many things that can come up. They seem so small at the moment. And yet, when you think about overall what you can do, then suddenly those things become a much bigger deal than what you initially expected. And so when you have everything on that singular platform, one, it's really easy to get up and running because it's just say, bring in your data. And now you can do so many things just by having your data there. All that connection stuff goes off to the side. But then more importantly, when you get through that initial cycle and you're like, okay, I want to innovate, I want to take that next step. Now all the tools are right there for you to take that next step. And you're not having to look at a whole, all right, now I need to purchase new hardware, I need to purchase new software, I need to do something else infrastructure. You can move straight into the innovation step.
Yeah,
I love that. And honestly, that goes right into where Miss Belinda was going. Reading our PowerPoint ahead is OneLake is the heart of everything. The real big power that Fabric brings into place is how easy it is to have one copy of data that can be used by any of our tools, any of our situations, without having to copy it around, by using shortcuts, so that you're not having to manage 57 versions of your customer table, right? In 57 different places. You have one that's always up to date, that's managed by the sales team or managed by whoever that owner is, that other people can leverage and use, and honestly potentially extend upon that use case, right?
Yeah. I think one thing that people forget about that is it feels so easy. My one caveat I always call out to folks who are starting out with Fabric is now you don't have multiple copies of it. Now you have multiple places to secure it. So don't forget that part of OneLake, right? It is so powerful and so I was going to say empowering. I'm sure there's another word for it, but enabling, it's great.
I think enabling is a good word, right? But
Yeah.
The key word that I picked up from what Chris was saying, right, is the ability to do shortcuts, right? And I think shortcuts plays on to what you were pointing out as well. Is it is such a great feature to kind of think of building out that one customer table or this one dimension, and then you're going to shortcut it over to, say, multiple models or multiple other workspaces. But it doesn't stop you from having to still think about what am I putting out into with that shortcut? And does everybody in that workspace still need access to all the columns there? Right. So, as good as shortcuts are, if you still need to reduce down the columns or something else, I mean, will views kind of fit into some of it? Not really, but you might end up copying your customer with 10 columns versus 100 columns over somewhere else, and you have the ability to do that very easily in this platform.
Yeah, and if you think about it, the whole point of creating a table, putting it in your warehouse or putting in your lake, is the reusability of that asset. The more reusable it is, the more people can leverage it, the more value it adds to your organization. So the more we can do to make that broadly accessible to everyone in our company, the better we are, right? And I'm going to say honestly, I think that kind of goes to our next topic on here, and that's
Before we move
oh,
on from that, can we just because Peter
sure.
put a comment in the chat real quick about now SharePoint and shortcuts. Oh, I think you showed it
Yes.
and I hit it. And Christina talked about this a while ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a couple of us were goofing around and we actually got the transformation into the table to work. I got it to work, but somebody else that I was interfacing with didn't get it. What they found out yesterday was you might have to create a new lake house. Like if you're using an old existing, and sometimes this happens with a new feature that comes out, that if you didn't create a new lake house, that feature didn't seem to get enabled. So, but SharePoint, and OneDrive shortcuts, Peter, I fully agree. Those are a game changer for bringing in things like CSVs into
Talk
one
about
lake.
having one platform, right, Kevin? It feels
Yeah.
finally like I'm using 2 Microsoft tools and they finally communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and Belinda's hitting on it right here. Like, we can have this stuff over and over again without having to duplicate it, right? So you can have those 67 teams that are using that asset over and over and over again, but you don't have to worry about them, or you don't have to have 67 copies of that asset all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say that transitions into the next topic, which is picking the right compute for the job. So we have one asset that's, I'm just going to use the customer table, right? So I've got my customer table. I'm using it. I'm in my sales department, and all of my sales department runs off of a warehouse, right? I've got all these components in place that I've had in place for 30 years, right? And so I 30 years of development. So I've been able to string that along, migrate that along through various tools so that they're all together inside of my warehouse, and I'm managing my data there. And I use those tools to manage my customer dimension. But now I get to share that out, and whoever's using that information can consume it with the compute that they need to have, right? So if it's a data scientist, they can hit my backend Delta tables, and they can bring their own compute to the situation, and they're good to go. Analysts can bring their semantic models and their Power BI kits on top of it, and they pay for those computes, right?
Yep. Yeah, and I think you could also change that last word to pick the right compute for the team.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Do you use a lake house? Because like you just said, right, the data scientists are going to use a lot of Python and go with the machine learning and stuff like that. So that's going to be their skill set, to where if you do already have a big investment in people learning SQL, specifically T-SQL, right, then why retrain over to Python at this, at the beginning moment? Let them use a warehouse and work with the SQL that they love. So, yeah, I think all of those kind of go into this decision.
I totally agree with you on that, Kevin. Like, that is something that when I'm talking to organizations who are looking to get started with fabric, that's usually one of the first things I'm asking about is, what is the skill set that you want your team to use to implement whatever your data strategy is? Because fabric could do almost anything under the sun of all these different types of workloads. But that means then that when you think about your strategy and coming up with your consistent approach for how you're going to start your journey in fabric, picking the right compute is incredibly important. And honestly, I'd say even in current landscape with fabric, picking the right storage and compute is really super important, because at least in current state, like if I'm using things like notebooks, the specific type of notebook that I use innately sort of determines this is the sort of storage that I'm going to plan on interacting with. Not that I can choose other options, it's just harder, and fabric's supposed to make things easier. So don't underestimate the power of find where your skill set is for your team today. Build your solution around that. It's not a bad idea.
Right.
And you can
And while
always
I
get some
love
nuggets.
real-time intelligence, I love streaming data, that's not always the most cost-effective compute that you should be using for everything that you're loading, you know, from your sources. So, like, if you need it, use it. If you don't need it, don't use it. Right? Find what works best for you. Do performance tuning. Test the stuff out. I will say there's a little bit of a online kerfluffle around one of my posts where someone said, "You don't know Python, so you can't optimize." I'm like, well, I don't know Python. I can't optimize. I cannot test it, but I can compare my performance in T-SQL versus Python's expert's performance in T-SQL. And I can do that at scale on hundreds of tests. And we can do our comparison. We can match up the compute and consumption and go, aha, there is a cost difference, you know, depending upon the workload, depending upon what it is you're doing. And so you just have to be smart about which one you're going to do and be smart about your tests, right? Like I would never put my Python test up and say like, oh, I know what I'm doing with Python. I don't know what I'm doing with Python. Jared knows what he's doing with Python. Other people know what they're doing with Python. You know, and let's be honest with these things, right? Sometimes Python's better, use Python. If it's not and T-SQL's better, use T-SQL, right? Like, just don't get religious here, right? Like,
I think of it like a screwdriver, right? You can have slightly the wrong screwdriver and it will still screw something in or unscrew it. So you don't want to be stripping your screws so you can never reuse them or undo it, right? There's different tweaks and different levels of what you need for certain jobs, certain teams, certain situations.
Yeah,
I love that analogy.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I've not heard that before. Well done.
You're
This
killing
is my
me
fourth
on that.
cup of coffee today, so
You're killing me on
all
that.
cylinders.
Killing me on that analogy, because it seems like every time I do some project that I have screws, I strip them. So
you need a different screwdriver, Kevin.
yeah, I guess so. I just
I'm
need
gonna
somebody
say-
else to do it for me.
So I'm going to say, if you're struggling with screws and screwdrivers, this is where you should think about getting yourself a Milwaukee Tool toolkit. You can find them on sale at Home Depot and your local retailers. And they've got some great holiday deals that are still out there. They're absolutely fantastic. I've got mine.
You could buy them online and use
right here. And this little device has got 14-in-1 screwdrivers as part of it. It was less than $10. It was a total steal. And it's the #1 tool that I keep at my fingertips whenever I'm doing a project. So
Not
Do
Chris
you
actually
chew
selling
the
me on
tube like
this.
our normal advertised products here, or
what's that?
you chew on that the same way that you do the normal other products that we're talking about?
Well, that's fantastic,
minutes,
because you're
5
exactly right. When we're
Curly.
talking gum, I only chew Neuro gum. It's got caffeine, L-theanine, and B vitamin for that boost of energy that you need when you're working on your toughest challenges. That's Neuro gum. Use Kratos BI at checkout for 0% off. Both Milwaukee Tool and Neuro
I
gum
was
are
gonna
not
say,
sponsored.
I
of the
heard
channel.
Kratos BI didn't work at Milwaukee Tool either. It's
Yeah. Is there a Neuro driver? Yes. Oh gosh, dang, that's so funny. But but no, so my Christmas gift this year, or for me and my wife, we all got like Milwaukee tool stuff. They're phenomenal tools. I'm in Milwaukee, so like a lot of people talk about it, but it's like it's fantastic. I don't know. Have you guys ever used a Milwaukee tool before?
So I have Ryobi because when I first bought my first house, they had a huge sale at Home Depot for Ryobi tools. So I just bought like a whole set because I was like, I don't know what I need to know. I'm just gonna get the set what's on sale and just go. But
I'm gonna say I did the same thing, and I recently like quadrupled my investment in Ryobi, and then I tried my first Milwaukee tool, and I was so mad at myself. I'm like, oh, this is so much better. Dag nabbit. Now I see why people pay for this. So
good to know.
Yes. Sorry. All unsponsored plugs, but they've made my life easier, so I'm sharing that with you. All right, let's keep going. All right, number 4. Direct Lake is the goal, but not the starting point for building semantic models. I know a lot of people, especially as you start to work and explore in Fabric. Honestly, you've been working and exploring for Power BI for a while, right? And getting to the point where you have a true pure star schema is something that a lot of people are still on a journey and a road to. Direct Lake is fantastic if you have a well-formed star schema that you can manage and load and keep as your proper gold layer. But if you do not yet have that well-formed, well-modeled fact dimension table in Direct Lake, you may find Direct Lake is more challenging than you would like it to necessarily be. So while it's a great goal, it's not something that everyone is going to start off with.
Yes.
The difference between good tooling and good technique. The design of your data is still as important as it ever was. Fabric doesn't change that discussion. What it does change is it gives you some better options of when your stuff is well designed. How do you get the best performance out of your design on top of having something that is well semantically understood? And change the formula just with a new flashy product.
I'm gonna try to push back a little bit on this one.
Really?
Yeah, because okay, what you just said was if you don't have a good star schema in your, say, gold layer or whatever layer you're pulling into that semantic model, but then what are you doing? Are you still doing a lot of transformations in Power Query to get your star schema into that semantic model? And if then now you got data engineering sitting in multiple places, move your data engineering out of Power Query. Power Query is great. It's wonderful to get started. I hate it.
Yeah.
Move away from it as fast as possible. Right. So yes, it is the goal, and your goal should be getting there fast as possible. Now, the other part of it is you can still build your star schema into your gold layer and do import, right? Yeah. And maybe save some money, say import and go into a pro workspace if you have all those licensing and stuff like that. But I think you should try to get there. It is the goal, and get there sooner than later, right? And move out of it as fast as possible. Not always to just Direct Lake. I think Direct Lake's great. I use it for pretty much all of my models. I even just deployed one that had the new Direct Lake to the actual Lakehouse endpoint rather than that yesterday. But get there quicker, I think, would be my advice.
Okay, the pause and the caveat here, Kevin. So I appreciate that you push back and challenge me. I want everyone to in chat put a +1 if the majority of random models you're pulled up to look at is in any form of a star schema whatsoever, even a crude one. And tell me, like, are the majority of the models that you pull up when you're asked to review something a star schema? I could say, me personally, the answer is absolutely not. I am always shocked and amazed when someone gets the concept of a dimension right. The number of many to many with bidirectional joins that I see that where people just don't understand. In fact, I probably gave the worst possible thing. Raise your hand if you don't know something. Like, like, what am I supposed to do here?
You can't prove a negative, man.
Yeah. You open up your model. You're like, oh, it's just one big Excel spreadsheet on the back end. Okay.
Honestly, that's a little bit ideal, Chris. I never see that even. It's like, oh, there's an Excel table that they have converted into 6 different DAX tables that have many to manys on 3 pages. I'm like, no.
Yeah, but what we're talking about now is saying, right? So people are doing that, and but us that are more professional, we're not doing that, right? But even if we're taking the same source that somebody has, we're starting from that spreadsheet and we're shortcutting that in, or CSV file, we're shortcutting that in. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is our transformation. Do we want to do that transformation in the semantic model with Power Query, right? Or now we've opened up all these other options that we've talked about to do the transformation. And that's kind of what I'm saying.
Okay. And great clarification. I think for a professional who knows how to engineer and build a solution, who has like, their gold layer, it's exactly the start schema they want imported, right? It's got everything set up the way we want. For us, I think the default is is Direct Lake at this point. Gone are the days of like, I don't know. Like, I mean, 2-3 years ago when they first rolled it out, there were some performance issues. There was like functionality that didn't quite work, or there was an issue. And I think there are a handful that are still out there, but like they're all niche solutions and niche situations where it's just like, unless you fall into that category, like just go Direct Lake and save yourself having to do your refreshes on your models. Because the number of people I see who do full refreshes on every models is through the roof.
Yeah.
Right. So you're basically like, hey, I've done incremental load in bronze, and incremental load in silver, and incremental load in gold. Full refresh.
It's just ridiculous.
Model. Yeah. Like, wow, look at all your CUs. Congratulations.
Yeah. But also, right, like those models that come to you that have, let's call them the ugly baby models, right? They're coming to you for a reason, because they hit a limitation that they can't do something anymore, right? Or it is costing them way too much, or something like that. Now, their first ask to you is, well, I just needed to do this. Can you add it quickly?
Yep.
And that triggers one of those hard conversations. The answer is no, we can't, because you screwed this up so much. No, we need to go back and make it cheaper by saying we do the data engineering more upfront, So that's kind of where I'm headed to.
I agree with you, Kevin, in principle. I find that in the real world, that conversation goes differently. I find it goes, well, we have month end next week, and this has to work. No ifs, ands, or buts. And you have 5 hours to do it. Available time. Go.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Right.
Again, difficult conversations and telling them reality is going, that's fine. Good luck. It's not going to be me that does it. So.
Yes.
Everything's got a trade-off.
It is hard to polish a turd. You're right. But that leads us into our next item so eloquently, Peter. Well done.
Peter's been on fire today. I like
that.
Yeah.
Hey, these capacities are shared resources. Act like it. This isn't just your own personal capacity that you bought for, paid for, got budgeting for, and so you think you can run your refreshes every 30 seconds. Piss off. Like other people are reliant upon this, this environment. It's not just you. If you want to be allowed to play with the big boys with the big tools, you have to like work and act appropriately with them.
Yeah, or fork up the money to get your own capacity. So it's not shared, right? And yeah, because there was a discussion on Reddit yesterday. It was kind of that way of, Microsoft has just designed this so that, you have to throw more money at it. Well, not really. I mean, and somebody from Microsoft from the product team jumped in going, a lot of people use multiple capacities and plan it out this way in order to help stop, some one person from just totally taking it over. And it goes back to our previous conversation too. If you're running something that's just so bad and taking up all kinds of CUs, then it needs to be on you to pay for, or you or your department or something, pay for your own FSKU, whichever one it fits on, and fork up the money on your own. So
It also
otherwise,
takes
yes.
someone watching it, right?
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people don't know who's using their capacity.
Yeah.
Not until they get to the, like, if anybody has dealt with the when you get to the full level of overage on your capacity, oh, it's just that lovely moment when you're just working in Fabric and everything looks fine, and suddenly even to just refresh the page, you're getting messages that saying you can't access this right now. And usually the bar, like, depending on your resolution, doesn't tell you, oh, it's because your capacity is maxed out for full overage. And that's what everybody on the capacity is seeing now. And then the emails fly in. Oh, it's just a fun experience. I mean, not speaking from experience or anything.
I definitely didn't build a session off of exactly that experience at some point.
I know, right?
Just turn it off and back on again.
Just speaking of which, before I forget, Jared, I am going to create dedicated capacities for each of our FabCon sessions that we're going to be presenting on.
Whoa.
So that you cannot take out my capacity that I'm going to be presenting and using, and
come on.
vice versa. I blew through a capacity the other day testing something. I was like, "Ooh, gosh! I hope Jared and the others don't see that I did this, because I screwed something. I didn't screw it up, but like I totally wasted that F2's resources for like a 24-hour period in like an hour. Like it was
Nice.
silly. Yeah.
Where's your sense of adventure?
Like I said, just turn it off, pause it, and turn it back on. It works great.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
much money are you gonna pay with that
Don't-
credit card bill? You know?
No, don't look at the bill. Nobody said to look at the bill.
Yeah.
I had to explain that to someone because they're like, "Why doesn't everyone do that?" I was like, "Because you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
As soon as you do that, you pay for it." Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to pay immediately or you want to pay with time?
Right. Exactly.
Pick your currency.
Ugh.
Right. You are exactly right. And I am going to say, oh gosh, where did it go? Let's see if we can make this work.
Oh. Belinda
Hold
wants
on.
you to create her
Oh,
own
crap.
capacity as well.
That took longer to load than I was.
Everybody brace for impact.
Yeah. I got to get that meme of "we'll do it live." So Jason is exactly right. If you're going to be managing an environment, do make sure you have FWAM installed. I'll say one of our big sessions that we're going to be presenting at FabCon this year is hosted by Curtis Stallings, who's been on this live stream a couple of times in the past. He's going to be talking about how you can manage a broad scale tenant with many capacities using FWAM and extending FWAM and customizations to help you and your organization do more. So it is a must see. It's like at 4 o'clock on Friday. It's at the absolute worst session time or something like that. I don't know the exact time, but like it's, for me, it's the reason to stay to the end. Make sure you're not booking your flight till late Saturday so you could see this and attend the whole sequel Saturday stuff, because that's your reason to stay and book your flight the next day right there.
I
Yeah,
think
$1
$1 million
million
session.
we
What's
could
that?
have a whole episode on just how did you pronounce that?
FWAM?
Not how I pronounced it, but
How do you pronounce it?
I was going with FUAM is what I thought I heard
No.
before, but
FWAM.
Yeah, I like the sound effect approach. Wham, 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 wham.
Well, that might be the only way I remember it now, Jared. 'Cause I think I had to, maybe I had to come up with something I could say for a while, but I couldn't.
Saying it from the guy who's done the video with the fabric lightsaber edit on it. So yeah.
See, I thought of it as the Dune throat singers.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a man of taste in classics, I see.
All right. Well, how do we organize, or what are our workspaces for? Workspaces are our organizational boundaries, right? These are the hard boundaries, that's going to define and separate out your organizations within the fabric space. The more you can align this to the way your company works and operates, the more direct line of sight you're going to have into who owns what, who's responsible for what, and who has to cough up and pay for what. I think people miss this as a fundamental principle. And while domains help with the organization of many workspaces, the actual boundaries are your workspaces.
Yeah, I think of domains as tags and workspaces as my folders, right? Like I can grant security to folders, but maybe I want to label things with my tags and domains.
Grant security to workspaces.
Yeah.
Not folders within workspaces, but I think I got your analogy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was not very clear.
From a domain is kind of a high level organizational container.
Yep.
Workspaces is where everything really begins, right? So it's your organizational boundary and it's your first line into a security boundary.
Yes. Yep.
And I think the key word there is organizational. Like this shouldn't be just all right, this is the way our organization typically runs as far as our security approach. We're going to come up with some approach where even two people in the same department don't necessarily have the same access to things. Like, can you do that? Great. Are you going to create a lot of hassle for yourself? Also very yes, especially in Fabric is just going to exaggerate that complication. Like if you don't have this sort of strategy in place and you're getting started with something like Fabric, Fabric is innately going to prompt you to say, you're going to need to come up with an answer for this, or otherwise have 50 bajillion workspaces when you only have 100 users in your organization. Take that time and think about what does that really mean, and think about how your organization actually needs to use data. Use that as your guiding principle.
Yeah, if you kind of think about it, it's very much like how you organize your SharePoint or your Teams folders, right? Like how many Teams groups do you really want to be part of, right? Okay. Yeah, not zero, but the number of Teams groups I'm a member of is probably too many. And the number of SharePoint sites that you actively use and work in, think of what that is like as well, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great analogy, Chris.
Yeah. All right. Number 7. The medallion architecture still matters, right? And the medallion architecture, like we think of it as it's called an architecture, but I really think of it, I like to think of it as how we are organizing the flow of data through our system. Of course, when we pull data out, we want to have raw data so that we can always troubleshoot, we can always audit, we can always roll back, we can always do all of those types of things if something downstream fails, right? Those concepts existed on-prem and have for 20, 30 years. Those concepts are now much easier in Fabric. So still do that even inside of this modern data platform. It's real easy to, but it still matters, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it matters almost more than ever because it is a platform like we talked about at the beginning and not just a set of tools.
Right.
Yeah, right. Medallion is huge, but it is, again, that's strategy, that's technique. Fabric is going to expose whether that design and that strategy is in a good spot or whether it's not. And I say that at least having seen medallion architectures that go very well in Fabric, and other ones that just they created so much additional frustration because they didn't really think about, okay, how do we want to actually secure things layer to layer to layer? What are the actual use cases for each of the layers that we have within our medallion architecture? Those sorts of things become much more important in Fabric, especially if you decide to do everything in something like a singular workspace, and then suddenly everybody sees everything. They're like, what's a bronze? How do I bronze, silver? Which one do I use? Complexity comes there, confusion. That's not what you want from Fabric. You want clarity, and that comes from design on a good platform.
Yeah, you want it to feel like one source of truth, right? That's one of the biggest benefits. And when you expose that, it has multiple steps. It becomes very muddy.
Yeah, and to that extent, Peter's calling out our bonus thing. Check out Fabric Essentials, because the great thing about a unified platform like Fabric that many organizations are using, I forget the exact numbers, it's like 40 billion% of the Fortune 100 are using it. Because 40 billion% is how that would be calculated.
It's not a made up statistic at all.
Not at all. Yeah. But
85% of statistics aren't made up.
That's
no.
It came from a
86%.
certified source in Fabric. So
yes. I have a KPI that tracks it clearly. There's these great community resources that are available for you through the Fabric Essentials listings, so you can understand all the community repositories, all the Microsoft repositories that are out there. This is a pretty good resource to be able to like dive in and understand what is available, that you could just leverage and use to drive that consistency, to make your content more accessible and usable by other people, right?
Oh, these are super cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Pete.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. That's our bonus for the day. Well done. Because we're cruising towards the end, want to hit on all of these. Number 8, governance is built in. Use it early in your system, right? Microsoft Fabric has been built on the same platform and same capabilities that Microsoft Power BI was running on for many years. Microsoft Power BI, the number one self-service business intelligence platform in the world, that makes it super easy for people to create hundreds, if not thousands, of reports, has a very mature, very defined process for how you govern and manage access to all of your assets. Leverage those capabilities. Put in your annotations. Put in your endorsements. Make sure that you have favorites. Make sure you've got comments on it. Build out a practice and start that as early as you can with Fabric. You may look over at your Power BI team who's got all of that in place. They've defined what a certified report is. They've defined what an endorsed report is. Well, when you're in Fabric, define a certified pipeline, define an endorsed lakehouse, right? Get those components in place and start with that right away.
Yeah, and Chris, your passion is totally well placed here, because a lot of people forget that. A lot of people forget that they should start at a time where it doesn't require them going back and redoing a bunch of things. Like, start now and you can change it easier than you can build it.
Yeah, I as I was trying to show, that was the mic drop, right there. What Chris had. It's like, all right, yeah, okay.
That's a meme.
But definitely, I think your point is extremely valid, right? Just because somebody didn't write out, a Fabric adoption roadmap doesn't mean you can't use the principles from the Power BI adoption roadmap, right? and how to do the governance, how to use the tools that are in place, the certified reports, the endorsed report, or items, however you want to do that, and just making sure you have everything in the right place. Definitely, look at your different lineage views, look at how things are being connected. Are you connecting them all to the right place? There's tools there to help you govern and look at all that. And then if you use some of the other tools that are either on that site or ones that we talked about, see, I can't even say foam, or how I can't do it again. See? Right. I mean, that's another governance piece that, is easy to put in and understand, and add in your capacity metrics app. If you are a capacity admin and have not used the capacity metrics app to help govern your capacity, then you're not a capacity admin. Take it off your title.
Yeah.
And especially like if for those who may be watching this and you're looking to get into Fabric and you're not in there yet, this is the sort of stuff that you should be thinking about. If you're not doing this strategically as an organization today, that should be one of your goals, jumping into Fabric. Moving to Fabric, I mean, it is software as a service, which means its goal is to try and reduce some of the things that you need to do to support the environment, so that then you have more time to do other things that maybe previously you didn't have time for. If you felt like you didn't have time for governance now, moving into Fabric is a great opportunity to say, this should hopefully save me time in administration and other functions. I can repurpose that time to figure out what our governance strategy should be. And to Kevin's point, it doesn't have to be complicated. Start from grassroots. What's most important to you as an organization? You can build on that over time.
Yeah, make that admin workspace that has shortcuts to a SharePoint site that you guys all agree to use. Something that connects it all back to itself, right? Make it obvious where that stuff lives.
Yeah, and use the tools and capabilities that are out there. Here's the One Lake catalog report that's built in and part of the system. Did you know that it's there? Can you drive your work through existing tools and capabilities so you don't have to reinvent any wheels? You don't have to have this large enterprise team that builds and manages all this stuff. You can leverage the tools that are out there to make your job easier. Just do that. Do the easy thing. You don't have to make it hard. It doesn't have to be this big shuttle launch every time you engage with it. And keep watching. We will have a video on that new experience. That's something that I've sat down to record 3 times, and every time I sat down to do it, someone calls me about a project. So that's how that works.
Boy, that's a problem.
All right, we got 6 minutes left, and we got to wrap up. So I got 2 more topics we're going to hit on here. Number 9, not everything needs Spark. And
oh, my heart.
Spicy.
Unless you're Jarrett, then everything is Spark.
No, I agree.
Spark is a wonderful tool. It's a wonderful platform. It is absolutely fantastic. But you don't have to use it for everything. Right? It's great. Use it where you can. Use it where it's appropriate. But don't try to bend everything to Spark. And the same thing is true of literally every tool out there, but Spark seems to be the newest, shiniest thing, right? Just like using Power BI for every solution is wrong, right? Like you shouldn't have direct query or, what the hell's the pipeline called?
Data flows?
The thing before data flows. Power Query. Holy crap.
Oh, Power Query.
You shouldn't use Power Query for every transformation and load in your system. You shouldn't use Spark for everything that you're trying to do, right? Use it where it's appropriate, and then learn how to use the other tools in the platform. Conversely, if you don't know how to use Spark or where you should use it, you should probably get up to speed on it. Like I need to get up to speed on it, right?
Yeah,
You'll love it.
I think you're exactly right. I mean, when you look at you're writing, Python to take advantage of Spark, right? You're pretty much writing everything I'm going to say this isn't exactly true, but you're almost writing it all from scratch, right?
Mhm.
But then if you could use pipelines because it already has a built-in connector, or as much as I get on data flows, if you could save a whole lot of time because the data flow already has, especially the data flow Gen 2 has a built-in connector. Like I've connected to small Salesforce instances, and there's a really nice connector to get to Salesforce, and you could stand something up with Dataflow Gen 2 to get the data into a lakehouse in 5 minutes, right? And it would take me much longer unless I already had all the API patterns down for what to do with Salesforce and build all that into Python. So yeah, not everything needs Spark, especially to kind of get going. Now that Salesforce stuff grows and you got to get incremental and everything, it doesn't work as well on the Gen 2 or the data flows. Now start saying reinvest to go to Spark. Kind of like earlier, right? Spark may be your eventual goal, but it doesn't have to be your starting point.
Spark
That's
might be
exactly
the
right.
electric drill that you can't necessarily use on a small part of a chair. But
Yeah.
if you're at an industry level, you're going to need something faster than
Mhm.
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah.
Well, and that's where Fabric rewards consistency more than cleverness, right? Figure out how you can have one or two patterns to take on something.
Mhm.
Don't try to be clever and come up with 47 or write a new pattern every time, right? Or write new code over and over again. Develop consistent, reliable, dependable patterns for each of your layers of your solution. So for your loading in your raw layers, use your initial Python and Spark for that, right? For your more sophisticated queries and cross table query and transforms, use your DW. And for your more robust analytics and consumptions and sharing information, use your semantic models, right? Like
Mhm.
use the appropriate tool for your job, but be consistent in it, right?
It's like naming conventions, right? You can get
Mhm.
really clever with them, but at the end of the day, they're supposed to be useful and helpful. And if you have to sit there and think about a new one every single time you come up with something, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, naming conventions, all that sustainability, like
That's the one.
Fabric is going to make it easy to say, oh yeah, I can just be a one-person shop and I can do everything under the sun here because I know how to push all the right buttons on that. All right, are you ready to then hand that on to the next person? If you're not, then that's not just Fabric. That is, we need to maybe think about our strategy about this, which is naming conventions and all these things. And what is it you're typically looking for in terms of that strategy? Consistency. The innovation is still important, but that's not what your foundation is. That's what is your next step.
Yep.
So make sure you distinguish between the two.
And as we close this out, that consistency and finding a few patterns is as you move into agent coding with AI, it's going to be a whole lot faster and easier because you're teaching your AI just your couple patterns that you like to use.
Yeah. All right. And with that, I think we're at time. So this has been a absolute fantastic conversation. Christina, Jared, Kevin, everyone in chat. Thank you guys so much for being part of this conversation. Thank you so much for being here with us on Fabric Fridays. We're going to be back next week with a topic that I don't know yet. So stay tuned. Maybe we'll do the DevOps head-to-head conversation with Christina and Kevin.
I can be ready for that.
Yeah?
Kevin will be much more prepared than me. I think it will be me reacting to Kevin's preparedness.
Okay.
That's fine. We could do it that way.
All right. There we are. Then we've defined it. Join us next week for Kevin's talk on DevOps.
Sorry,
awesome.
guys.
That's all good. Thank you so very much. Make sure if you have the opportunity to come join us at FabCon, SequelCon, KratosCon, it's all one ticket. You can get it through the FabricCon website. They got a buy one get one deal going on. Come and join us. hopefully I've got a new t-shirt vendor I'm evaluating. We might have KratosCon t-shirts available very, very soon. I've gotten 3 orders from them so far, all 3 shipped within 5 days. So much better than the 60 to 185 days, which the previous vendor had, which I mean, half a year is not a good timing for delivery of shirts. So that's why, yeah, I don't use them anymore. So thanks all. Have the best day ever. Peace. Baker Tilly Digital combines strategic industry insight and advanced technical expertise to uncover and solve your digital transformation challenges. If you're interested in learning more, check out our website at bakertilly.com/digital.